very top of the Gemara, Chavchet Amud Aleph, Bava Kama, the Gemara responds now, Rav Yehuda responds to the attack that Rav Kahana had brought against his opinion, where Rav Yehuda had previously said, Avid Inish Dinon Lanashe, Tehecha Ikapseda. Rav Yehuda thinks you can only take the law into your own hands where there's going to be loss, so you're going to prevent the loss. That's why you're taking the law into your own hands. But once the loss has already happened, you've already lost the money or whatever thing it is that the other person is taking from you, then you would have to go to court. So we had learned the opinion of Ben Bagbag, who had said, if somebody has something of yours in their courtyard, don't go in sheepishly, don't go in sneakily, because then they'll think you're a thief. You're not a thief. You're taking back what's yours. Instead, break his teeth and take it with force, as Rashi explained. So this seemed to be an attack against Rav Yehuda. So Amar Le, it had said on the previous Amud, it doesn't appear here, Amar Le, Imcha, Rav Yehuda now responds to Rav Kahana's attack and says to him, with you. Now Rashi explains two ways. What does that mean, with you? So either Rav Yehuda is saying to Rav Kahana, surprisingly, right, with you, right, is this really your opinion? You really think that Ben Bagbag is a good attack against me? Or it could be imcha, with you, but your opinion, you should just keep it to yourself. It's such a bad opinion. There's nothing here that you're bringing against me. You should have just kept quiet. You should have just kept that to yourself. Either way, with this word imcha, right, with you, Rav Yehuda is coming to reject Rav Kahana's attack against him by saying this is not a good attack. So why is it not a good attack? Ben Bagbag yichidahu upligi Rabbanan aleha. Rav Yehuda just responds to Rav Kahana by saying Ben Bagbag is a lone opinion. He's a sole opinion, like a yachid, right, an individual opinion. And the Rabbanan argue against him. So I have the majority on my side. Ben Bagbag is not a threat to me because he's just a lone opinion. Rav Yanai Amar, but Rav Yanai actually has a different way to explain how Ben Bagbag wouldn't be a problem for Rav Yehuda. And it's not because Ben Bagbag is insignificant or only one person, but actually Rav Yanai is going to reinterpret what Ben Bagbag said to support Rav Yehuda. So Rav Yanai Amar, my shibur et shinav badin. What does it mean when Ben Bagbag said that you should break the other person's teeth, right? The person who stole something from you and has your object in their possession. When Bagbag gave you the advice to break his teeth, he meant badin, with judgment. You should break the other guy's teeth by bringing him to court, which sounds like Rav Yehuda. Rav Yehuda said, if the loss already happened, you have to bring the person to court. Ihachi, but now the Gemara says, if so, v'amur lo, v'omrim lo mi ba'ilai. When Ben Bagbag said, v'amur lo, right, you should say to him, this is mine, right, I'm taking what's mine, that doesn't sound like you're going to court. If he was bringing him to court, right, if the person whose object was stolen was bringing his friend to court, it should have said, mi ba'ilei, it should have said, v'omrim lo, and you, plural, should say to him. If Ben Bagbag, right, so Rav Yanai says, okay, this whole thing with Ben Bagbag, he's saying that you should bring the person to court. But now the Gemara is saying, no, if you actually look at the language, the dikduk, right, that Ben Bagbag used in his opinion, it's very clear that this is like a one-on-one situation. Because if this were a Beit Din situation that Ben Bagbag was really referring to, it should have been many against one, right? The Beit Din is a bunch of people. That group of people should have been talking to the person who stole the object. So when Ben Bagbag said, va'amur lo, and you individually should say to him, right, to the person who stole your object, that implies that this is a one-on-one interaction, not in Beit Din. And then again, the Gemara brings up, shali ani notel, shalohu notel. Ben Bagbag had said, you should say, va'amur lo, you individually should say to him, the person who stole your object, shali ani notel, I am taking what's mine. But the Gemara says, if you were in Beit Din, if that's what Ben Bagbag was really talking about, then Ben Bagbag should have said, shalohu notel. He is taking what's him. The people of the Beit Din should say to the person who stole the object, this victim is taking what's his. It shouldn't have been written in the first person. Right? Shalohu notel mi ba'ilai. It should have said that. Kasha, so the Gemara ends off by saying, it's a difficulty. we don't really know exactly how to interpret Ben Bagbag. It's possible, like Rav Yana was saying, that maybe he actually does agree with Rav Yehuda, but on the other hand, the dikduk, right, the way that Ben Bagbag phrased his opinion, it kind of seems like he's agreeing more with Rav Nachman. In the end, the Gemara is ending off with a kasha. We'll talk about next time what's the difference between a kasha and you may have heard of a tiyufta. The Gemara is kind of leaving things a little bit up in the air, but we'll see that actually we can probably argue that it's not quite as up in the air as we might think.